Hello and welcome to Link Ahead, the City of Dublin podcast. I'm Bruce Edwards, Digital and Brand Manager for the City of Dublin.
And I'm Lindsay Weisenauer, Director of Communications and Public Information, and we are coming to you today basically from the grounds of the Dublin Irish Festival.
Yes, indeed. If you've driven anywhere close to City Hall near Coffin Park, you've seen the giant white tents going up, and you know what that means. Dublin is again ready to host the largest three-day Irish festival on the planet Earth.
On the whole planet, in the whole universe. And to get you ready to get pumped with us today is DIF's events coordinator, Kathy Witchy. Kathy, it's great to have you on Link Ahead.
Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate being here.
Oh, we're so glad to have you. And as we mentioned, we are about as close to the DIF grounds as you can get, right across the street from Coffin Park with a bird's eye view of the grounds right now. So take a look out there for our listeners and just kind of give us a lay of the land. What are we looking at right now?
Sure. So right here at the corner of Perimeter Drive and Emerald Parkway, it's the Celtic Rock Stage. Festival fans this year will notice that it's turned a little bit more towards the park. Just because we've had a couple years to really think about the festival and spreading things out, you'll notice that things are a little more spread out. So it gave us the opportunity to kind of turn that tent just a smidge. The food trucks will flank both sides of the south field. That large tent at the top of the field with the peaks, that's going to be the Reichert Rest Stop, which has seating for several hundred people.
Wow.
There will be umbrella tables outside, and then there's tables and chairs on the inside so that folks can eat and listen to the music on the Celtic Rock Stage. The other large tent that was never there before is a marketplace tent. And again, that gave us a little more opportunity to shift things. Probably the biggest change in this field is the sports field. It is completely moved more over toward the parking lot, which gives us a lot more space and, keeps it safe for all the people who are participating in the Highland Games. So you've got a great view.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know everyone's excited to come home to Kaufman Park this year for the 35th year.
And Kathy, I just love the fact that you guys don't just rest on your laurels. And, you're always looking to tweak things, right?
We always are.
Well, all right. Can we tick through some amazing numbers for this year's festival? 35th year, 38 acres on scenic Coffin Park, 535 performers, 1,500 dancers, 65 musical acts, 895 musicians, pipers, cultural exhibits, dozens upon dozens of artists and vendors. Could this be the largest Dublin Irish Festival yet?
We certainly hope so. We've really been busy, and I will tell you, I've done a lot of promo events lately, and I've heard so many people, and they're so excited to have the festival back to full speed. They can't wait to hear their favorite bands. They have friends coming that they haven't seen in the past 2 years. 2 years is a really long time to go without this community staple, and I think people are really ready to come back. We've done a lot of thinking over the past 2 years. We've made several changes based on just other festivals and what we've seen, and we've studied, we've researched. So I think people should come back this year because it will look different. It's not going to look exactly like it used to, and I think that's exciting.
Yeah, a lot of new stuff this year. Let's break it down in terms of what's new in several different areas. How about food?
We've got several new food vendors this year. I'm pretty excited about Wendy's. Wendy's has been a big sponsor of ours for a long time. But they're going to bring their Frosty cart, which kind of looks like a small camper.
Oh, fun.
So that's really going to be fun for people to see. Swenson's, now that's a local joint. There's one down in Hilliard, and then there's one up on Sawmill. And they were supposed to be with us in 2020, but of course we didn't have the festival, so they'll be back for the first time. We have a new yogurt truck coming from Toledo, and they have, it's called Gorilla Gert. So I'm pretty excited about that because you can never have enough cold treats at a festival.
You are right about that.
I guess the only other thing, Jason Liu is our honorary chair this year, and J. Liu Restaurant right here in Dublin and one in Worthington, they always have a spot. Well, with his needing to be all places everywhere as the honorary chair, his other restaurant it's called Woody's Wing House is going to take his spot, and they have really good wings. So we've never had wings before.
All right.
So that'll be new.
Wow.
Great.
How about artists?
Artists. Well, one of my favorite parts of the festival is always the marketplace. And that's such an interesting part of the festival because to be in the marketplace, you have to be an artisan. And so we have a new hand weaver, which I think is kind of interesting. We have a new jewelry designer, and we have a lady, her business is called Celtic Girl Travels Photography. And I really want to go to Ireland. That's on my bucket list. And so I love seeing those pictures, and I get to pick out the places someday that I may be able to see.
We have the same bucket list, so that's great. How about entertainment?
Something really new that's different. We're going to have comedians this year, which we've never done before.
Really?
Bruce, you're going to be over there?
No. I was not asked.
So it's called the Real Irish Comedy Tour. And there's these three guys. They were all born in different counties in Ireland, but somehow they got all hooked together. And they're going to perform Friday and Saturday night in the Abbey Theater. It's a $10 ticket that you have to purchase online, separate from your $15 entry. But if you go onto the website, you can actually click on their shows, and they're really funny. So I think that'll be kind of fun.
There are a few things new for specific audiences this year. Can you tell us about those?
Sure. We are one of our sponsors, Michael Schedinger of Schedinger Funeral Homes, asked us a couple of years ago. He thought that it would be a great idea to have an area for veterans. Just a place for...
Great idea.
Yeah, for veterans to get together. And we extended that, too, to first responders. So it's an area where they can sit, have some complimentary snacks, some beverages, just some camaraderie for veterans at the festival to kind of take a second off and meet others.
Is there an air conditioning, or is it at least shade?
Well, there's a tent.
There you go. So.
I'm assuming we'll have a fan. Yeah. So it should be a really welcoming place for veterans or first responders to come. The second thing we learned from some other festivals is that we are going to have a sensory tent. So between the Dublin Community Rec Center staff and the Autism Society of Central Ohio, we're going to have an area in the Wee Folk section, I guess, with some sensory activities and some equipment for people who might need to take a break.
Oh, what a great addition.
That's awesome.
Let's talk tokens. What do we need to know this year?
No more tokens.
No more
All right,
tokens,
you heard it here
right.
first.
But I loved waiting in line to get the tokens and then going and waiting in another line.
Right, because everybody loves to wait in two lines.
Yes.
No, we're phasing those out this year, and we're really excited about that. And then we use Square, so you can use your
All right.
credit cards. We're very excited.
So no cash either.
No cash.
Right.
If you have cash, you can go to the token turn-in center and get a beverage payment card so that you can use that on Square. So it just kind of depends.
Perfect. So if you have tokens, you can bring them in, exchange them for a credit, maybe keep one or two for a souvenir.
Yeah,
No.
I'm going to make earrings.
Oh, that'll look nice. Or a nice necklace. I think that'd be fantastic.
Kathy, after weeks of setup, we're now just days away from opening night. Let's share with our listeners how you pull it off. First of all, it takes more than 1,000 volunteers. Tell us what they do.
Well, we couldn't have this festival if it weren't for our volunteers. They absolutely do it all. They sell tickets, they work in the information tent, they keep the staff and the entertainers fed. And they make crafts with kids, they sell festival merchandise. They are truly the best ambassadors of the festival. They work thousands of hours. Even our committees, they work year round. So, it takes a lot of people to put together a festival like ours.
I've worked in that kids area before. That was one of my first jobs when I started with the city. And I was so impressed that the hordes of people that came out to volunteer. This community is outstanding when it comes to volunteering for this event and any other activities that we ask them to do.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things to do is go by and watch the volunteers help the kids make their crowns. And they put little jewels on the crowns with the kids, and then the kids wear them around the festival. It's just hilarious to watch. Or sometimes they'll make a little, a sword, or something, and they have the best time with these kids.
So for anyone who has never been to the festival, or for someone who says, you know what, I'm not Irish, I'm not really interested, what would you say to get them to give it a try?
Well, there are plenty of people who are not Irish that love the festival. The festival is something for everybody. I guess I would encourage them to download the app and to just take some time reviewing the entertainment, the schedule, the vendors, attractions, and just plan their weekend. I mean, the music, lots of shopping, really good food, crafts and inflatables for kids, Celtic canines, Irish dancers. I mean, I just can't imagine that you can't find something that you'd really want to do.
So right.
And it's $15 for the entire day.
All right, well, let's talk community impact. For Dubliners to get out and see their friends, neighbors, family at an event like this is terrific, but it goes so much deeper than that even. So tell us about the local organizations and nonprofits that gather here to raise awareness and raise money.
So we really have two kind of major outlets that allow the community to really get involved. And one of those is our Sharing of the Green program. Each beverage location at the festival has a fundraising group. It could be a homeowners association, it could be a booster group from one of the high schools, it could be one of our partner Irish organizations, and those groups sign up their members to work that location for the entire weekend, and then they receive kind of a stipend for their efforts. There are about between 30 and 35 groups that do that. The second thing that we do is the festival's charitable partner is the Dublin Food Pantry, and on Sunday morning, August 7th, anyone can get in free with the donation of a canned food item or cash before 11. And also on that morning, the festival has 7 Sunday services, and all the money collected from those services goes to the Dublin Food Pantry. This is always the Food Pantry's largest collection project, and this year they need us more than ever. I mean, the canned food certainly is needed for our community, and financially, they've just kicked off a capital campaign to purchase and refit a new location. So there's a lot of need both for the food and for the cash.
When you calculate and add up everything the festival brings in directly and indirectly, what's the economic impact for the festival?
Yeah, well, we do an economic impact study every 5 years. And the last time we did it, it was 7 years ago. And the result was $8.6 million to the region.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's a lot. We plan to do that again in 2023. We just didn't think this was the right year, being our first year back from COVID, even though we're outside of how we typically would do that every 5 years. So we'll do that next year.
Well, let's talk about your public service to Dublin because it's deep and generational. You are a former educator in Dublin City Schools. So when you walk the festival, this is a giant reunion for you because you see so many students and parents, and people in the community.
I do enjoy that a lot. I have been in Dublin since sometime in the 80s, but I'm not going to tell you exactly when. But I have people come up all the time, Mrs. Witchy, and my coworkers always laugh because they're like, Mrs. Witchy. And I always, it's great. I mean, I like that a lot, I guess, most of the time, until my former students started introducing me to their college-age children. And then I feel a little bit older. But I love to catch up with the parents and the students to see what they're doing. And I always feel good when they say, I came home this weekend because it's the festival weekend. It makes me feel good. It's really a family affair, for us. Some part or section of my family volunteers every year wherever they're needed. I almost always get my friends to volunteer too, because that way I can just see them. Right. Because I work so much in the summer, I don't get to see them. But it's a good thing to have been in this community for so long.
I like that tactic. You want to see me? Come volunteer at the festival.
Can you be sure to make sure everybody listens to this podcast? So
I will.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
I will.
you. So to keep your educator hat on for another moment, the DIF is so rich in events and history and tradition that it's an education itself, isn't it?
It certainly is. I'll give that 100%. It's such an immersive experience. I mean, just walking down Kaufman Park Drive and seeing the Irish County flags and what they look like and what they represent is so interesting. Our entertainers, too, oftentimes when they go into a song, they explain that song or they explain where it came from or how it's important to them. And those stories are always educational, too. Cultural workshop presenters, obviously, and the reenactors. We have two sets of reenactors. And so you can't really come to the festival without learning something, even shopping. I mean, I have to say that, not that I've done any jewelry shopping before at the festival, but Celtic jewelry is very interesting. There's a lot of symbolism. And so the jewelry merchants are passionate, and they can teach you and share their knowledge about all those Celtic symbols, which, I mean, it is an Irish festival, so you're going to learn something.
You can't exit without learning something.
True.
All right.
So you've been with the city officially for about 6 years now, but you started getting involved with the festival earlier than that. Tell us about that and what capacity.
When my children were little, and I would say maybe my oldest was about 4, we made a mad dash on Friday at 4 to the festival so that they could play on the inflatables before it got too crowded. So that was a while ago, since she's a nurse now. So then when she was in high school, actually, she played soccer for Kaufman, and the Booster Club was one of the sharing of the green groups. And so we volunteered for our shift at that. And the truth of the matter, how I actually got here was one summer, I was looking online at the city webpage to find a job for my son. I thought maybe he could work at the pool or something like that. And I saw this part that just said they were looking for a seasonal clerical support person. And I thought, well, I could do that.
And that spoke to you.
So I applied. And so I have worked as a summer seasonal. And then after retiring, I worked part-time, and now I'm full-time. So I call it my encore career.
That's a great name for that.
I do love that.
Let's talk festival flashbacks. Can you share some favorite moments or memories from previous festivals?
Sure. I think some of them are kind of silly. The first time I ever saw the Red Hot Chili Pipers, I honestly didn't know that bagpipes could play rock music.
Oh, yeah.
That was shock to me. I also, I grew up in London, Ohio, and I was in 4-H. And even the sheep herding, that was kind of cool because you see all those pictures of Ireland with the sheep and the border collies and all of that. But, when you see the demonstration, it kind of puts history into perspective. So that was cool. Now, when I come, I'm just shocked at how big it is. So when I first started coming, the festival wasn't even in the South Field or this side of the bridge. The inflatables were way over by economic development, and it just was smaller.
Right.
And so, when I take a look at my Fitbit at the end of the day and it says I've walked 10 miles.
You don't get a golf cart or anything?
You can't get a golf cart through anywhere.
Good point. You also want to hear from attendees this year, and you encourage them to use the hashtag diff35, right?
Absolutely. We want people to share their fun and their joy. We actually have a new photo stop this year, too. It's just across Founders Bridge at the top of the South Field. We're going to have these big 5-foot-tall letters that spell DIF, and we'd love to have guests show their best poses in that spot.
All right, Kathy, we have a tradition here on Link Ahead, too, as in some rapid-fire questions with guests. With you, it's only fitting that these are all Irish themed. Are you ready?
I suppose.
Come on, it's fun.
First of all, can you dance an Irish jig?
Oh, absolutely not.
Well, I know Bruce can. If you had to sport just one, would you choose a kilt or a crown?
Oh, a crown, absolutely.
On food, what's your preference? Fish and chips or Irish sausage and sandwich?
Fish and chips.
Okay, how about pierogies or a Reuben?
Pass.
Neither one.
Potato pancakes or haluska cabbage and noodles?
Potato pancakes.
Okay, what's the best kept secret at the Dublin Irish Festival?
Perhaps it would be that throughout the weekend, staff, we try really hard to keep our adventures or funny things that may have happened at the festival to ourselves. And then on Sunday night, we meet at an undisclosed location.
Oh, man.
We're going to get it out.
And
Yep.
then we share stories, and it is really fun. We have a really good time talking about some of the antics that we have seen through the weekend.
So I think we need to do a post-diff podcast.
Yes, exactly. Favorite day at the 3-day festival?
Sunday, because I love the Mass in the morning. I think that's all those services, and the finale at the end. I think that is such a great day.
As a former librarian, who is your favorite Irish author or writer, and why?
I'm going to go back to my teaching days and say Owen Colfer. He wrote the Artemis Fowl series, and it's for young adults. It's really full of adventure and humans and fairies and good versus evil. Not Disney fairies.
No.
Yeah, not Disney fairies. And then, they've turned that whole thing into a graphic novel. I could go on and on about my books. But I won't. So I'm just going to end with Owen Colfer.
Great answer. Well, Mrs. Witchy, you're a good sport, and we so appreciate you taking the time to join Link Ahead, considering this is your very, very, very busy time of year. So thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you for asking.
And to our listeners, you can find everything you need to know about the Dublin Irish Festival at dublinirishfestival.org, and definitely download the Dublin Irish Festival app.
Gotta get the app. And thank you for taking time to connect with your city. Tune in next time as we continue to explore the many personalities and experiences that make Dublin a thriving place to live, work, and grow.